Yeah, it's pretty horrific what they do to people for political reasons. You know, they did that to One Nation in Australia.
Yeah.
David Ettridge and
Yeah.
Pauline Hanson, whether you agree with them or not,
Yeah.
the Liberal Labor politicians got together and they destroyed them.
Yeah.
They had a district court judge throw them in jail for 3 years.
Yeah.
But they got them out within 11 weeks, I think. But
Yeah.
Tony Abbott was involved in that. He should never be the Prime Minister of Australia because of what he did to them.
Yeah.
That he used his position to hold a fundraising event
Yeah.
to have them prosecuted in a district court. That's pretty corrupt.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've got a Master of Education specialising in leadership management and great leaders. If you study great leaders in history, they have genuine care for society
Yeah.
and vision, and they serve. You know, they serve society. They don't hurt society or they don't hurt people. They sacrifice and they strive to build a better society.
I believe Gough Whitlam was a very good man, and Margaret Whitlam. Everything that they did for society really helped.
Yeah.
And my parents knew the Whitlams.
Yeah. Cool. Well, one of the Prime Ministers studying at the moment is doing a bit of an analysis of Prime Ministers in history, and one of them is Ben Chifley.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Joseph Ben Chifley is his name.
Yeah.
But I believe he was one of Australia's greatest Prime Ministers for a lot of reasons, and I'm doing some research with a student that I'm tutoring at the moment, and it's
Yeah.
really quite interesting.
Yeah.
We're doing some research together on
Yeah.
Prime Ministers. But yeah, like what they do for political reasons, what political people do, politicians in office, to destroy people's civil and political rights, really, of their own citizens, is
Yeah.
quite evil.
Yeah.
And no good leader would do that.
No.
Freedom is something that's really important. You know,
Yeah.
if you're in office, you've got power and control, and then you destroy your citizens' political and civil rights.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's a bad leader to
Yeah.
do that. You know, that's bad leadership. That's just greedy, selfish corruption.
Yeah.
As if they haven't got enough power,
Yeah.
and then they want to persecute their own citizens, people who promote freedom and democracy and civil and political rights.
But Gough Whitlam should never have been sacked.
Well, no, they used the double dissolution thing to get rid of him, didn't
Yeah,
they? And that was just political, you know, with each other.
Yeah.
They corrupted our parliament. They don't follow the constitution of
Yeah.
Australia, the federal politicians.
Yeah.
And they're so selfish and greedy, all they do is have a go at each other. But they're actually murdering people because the homelessness and the
Yeah.
suicide and the people.
9 times out of 10, suicides aren't suicides, literally. Most suicides are forced by society or by doctors.
Yeah. Well, I believe psychiatry needs to stop because it is destroying our society.
Yeah.
But also GPs, that general practitioners that give psychiatric drugs, and they give them to the elderly people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're dying
Yeah.
prematurely
Yeah,
because they
that's
cause
true.
premature death. In fact, there's a report that's been produced. I don't know if you've read this report. And there's been a lot of reporting by a great journalist who I want to commend, Carmelo Amalfi of the Fremantle Herald. He's won an award for his
Yeah.
journalism on this issue.
Yeah.
And Martin Whiteley is an upper house member in the State Parliament, Western Australia, spoken out about psychiatric drugs.
Yeah.
And there's even a documentary where he's in. There's about 60 organisations throughout the world now trying to stop the practice of psychiatry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've listed 25 on our YouTube.
Oh, really?
And I've told the court as well.
Yeah.
And the judges are not, the judges are engaged in justice because they're letting it go on.
Yeah.
The judges, the politicians,
Yeah.
unfortunately the police. I used to have great respect for the police, but
No.
but I'm concerned about what they do, and my family needs protection for the police to protect my family because of the corruption that's been engaged by the government against my family. and I need the police to help my family, but they're not helping my family. So it's very worrying. It's very, you know, the government will destroy my life for political reasons if they can.
Yeah.
The politicians, when I say that, and the people working for the government who... There's too many people that work for the government that are getting paid to destroy people's lives, not to help people.
Yeah.
And political funding should never be used for that. It shouldn't.
No.
Be used.
It should be used for the people, to promote the people, to give freedom and economic stability to a country.
And to empower people economically. That's my vision, is to empower our citizens economically so they can thrive, you know, in business or in work.
Yeah.
So that, you know, small government, low taxation and business and economic incentives for the business community. I believe Australia needs taxation reform.
I believe in that.
And it should be done through the banking sector.
Yes.
And I have a vision about that. And also trade protection for our industries, for Australian industries, like Australian owned and made products and services, for increased production, for export supply and domestic consumption.
Yeah,
you know, they're good economic principles. They just don't follow them, and they've destroyed so many industries in Australia. Agriculture, manufacturing.
The farmers
goes on and on.
The farmers are doing it tough.
Yeah.
The pharmaceutical and the chemical companies are practically blackmailing the farmers, and all their wheat and their corn and all their rice and potatoes, you know, they've got to mass produce, and they've told they've got to use fertilisers. They've told they've got to use a certain way of farming. They're told, and half the time they go through hardship. They go through droughts, they go through floods. The country's going through fires at the moment.
Yeah.
They lose all their livestock. They've got to take out credit from the banks. Most of them live on 7 to 10 to 15 years credit.
Yeah. Well, they really destroyed the agriculture. The politicians have destroyed the agriculture sector.
Yeah.
Australia used to be one of the largest
Luckiest
producers
Yeah.
of, had one of the biggest agriculture industries in the world, and now they've just about wrecked it. And it's because they don't empower the farmers, you know. But they need to manage the economy better too. There's like lots of things they could be doing a lot better to manage the economy, and they don't do them. They don't understand how the economy works properly.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you have to understand what the Bible teaches about economics to understand how the economy works.
Yeah.
And they don't have that wisdom. They don't have that economic wisdom, and they don't have proper regulation of the banking sector. It's the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, because the rich, their vision is for economic profit at the expense of the society.
I believe that's true.
And they allow the vulnerable people to die in our society now.
Yes, they do.
Rather than look after them because they have to provide for them economically, they actually allow them to die, because that is really evil. Because they're like, oh, we don't have to provide for them, so, you know, that doesn't matter about them. They're not going to help them. They're not going to help them.
No.
They don't have any respect for human life.
No.
And they don't have any respect for the dignity of human life, to the point where they get the police to drag the homeless people away.
Yeah.
When the homeless people go to the Parliament House. I've told the homeless people in the city, well, have you gone to the Parliament House? I tell the politicians. Yeah, we've done that. They get the police to drag them away. You know, I think our politicians should be jailed for that.
There should be facilities for homeless people and squatters. The reason they are squatters and the reason they are homeless are because they can't get a pension, they can't get a job, and they're being treated in psych wards.
Yeah, and the government controls their bank accounts through the public trusts.
Yeah, the public trust.
They can't eat. If you can't control your bank account, you can't eat, let alone get a job or a house. And they sweep them off the street and put them in these psych facilities, and they kill them.
Yeah.
And this report proves it. This report, the 2012 National Report Card, they called it a contributing life. I don't know why they call it that. They're murdering these people. It's a report that's been commissioned. The commissioner chair, Alan Fells, he was the commissioner of this report. And he said, well, this is what he said in the report. People with a severe mental illness have their life expectancy reduced by 25 years on average due to the increased likelihood of heart-related conditions, diabetes and obesity. But they've got that wrong. They've got that wrong. These people are dying 25 years younger because they're being murdered with these treatments. And its evidence is all over the world that they die prematurely, they die suddenly sometimes from their treatments.
Yeah.
They die prematurely, they increase the risk of suicide, and they also increase in some cases the risk of homicide as well and violent tendencies. So
Yeah, they do.
so you have to, when is the world going to wake up and admit and acknowledge that these psychiatric treatments are causing the death of people 25 years on average younger than the general population? And that's why if I can't stop this practice in 5 years, they'll murder my brother David.
Yeah.
He won't survive.
They murdered my mother.
Yeah, they drugged her for what?
Yeah, years, ever since 1969.
Yeah, well, see, that's what they do. The evidence is that they are dying 25 years younger than the average population.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? They are killing them with these treatments.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And the WA Stokes Review talks about, this report first of all was commissioned by an independent body called the National Mental Health Commission. And the WA Stokes Review's evidence of breaching human rights, that they destroy human rights, restraints, particularly in regards to the restraining of people,
Yeah.
breach human rights. It's not just that, it's forcing them to be locked
It's
up.
chemical restraints these days, and sometimes it's even physical restraints. They did that in Guantanamo Bay.
I think they're missing a point in the beginning, is the very initial process of forcibly locking people up against their
Yeah.
will is a human
Yeah.
rights abuse.
Yeah.
They go to your home, drag you out of your home and lock you up if you don't want to see them.
And they ring places, they do a ring around. They trace where you are, and these days with mobiles, once they've got your number, they give it to the police and they make it torture. You go into an office and you're looking for work or you're looking to do business and you're quite innocent and you're vulnerable, and as soon as you walk in, the phone rings and it's like, oh, she's a psychiatric patient. And it's like, excuse me, but I have a real life, you know? I was an AIDS specialist. I was a haematology specialist. And I'd also got into Lucas Heights at the age of 14. I worked for Westmead, Red Cross, the World Health Organization. You know?
Yes, it's appalling. That it's an intrusion into your life. You're trying to live your life. Would you say it's a question of freedom?
They control your freedom. I haven't had a passport to leave this country since I was in my 20s.
So did they take your passport?
I don't have a passport. It hasn't been renewed and it's been lost. I don't know who's got it.
I got my brother a passport for identification reasons because they were talking about taking his driver's license. And they stole it.
Yeah.
They steal everything. They
Yeah,
take
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
You know, everything they do is destructive. Everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are atheists,
Yeah, basically.
which they destroy people's religious beliefs. So they're
Yeah.
atheists. They're doing the work of Satan, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
They are doing the work of Satan. It's so evil. It's been, for me, researching this whole area is like looking into the face of evil.
Yeah.
And I've been told that people in those places, when they talk about Jesus and God, what they do when the people talk about Jesus and God, you know, they may have spiritual experiences, and they start talking about it. They just drug them.
Yeah. You're hallucinating.
They just drug them with chemical compounds and tie them up, lock them up, whatever.
Put them in a locked wall room in a padded cell with a bed and a thin mattress like that. All their possessions are taken off them, and they're expected to stay in there for weeks on end. And some of them don't even have a toilet.
Well, I think it's very inhumane. And this article here, this paper, has got it wrong about this, because you got to fight the practice of psychiatry. There's another politician here, Martin Wiley, a Working House politician, who's been speaking out about this for a long time. Greens MP and spokeswoman for mental health, Alison Zanin, called Graylands hopelessly outdated. Well, they've murdered people out there. Now, I think you've got it wrong because you're saying it's an industry that's underfunded, mental health, okay? But I'm telling you that it's not to do with funding. A health department spokeswoman said the review would examine the identification process at Graylands. They're murdering people out there. I want that whole place cleared. I want that building destroyed and a huge bulldoze and a huge big memorial set up.
Yeah.
Find out all the dead victims.
Yeah, most of them are in unmarked graves. My uncle, he died, and he had been in the PMG and the post office, I think. He was a telegraph man in the army. He was a baton man, which means he used to dress the generals and the officers in the army. And he lays in a mass grave in one of the cemeteries in Sydney. And we have a family crypt.
Yeah. Yeah, I got told by one of our members that she worked at Graylands in the 1970s and the 1980s, and she remembers that there was a pond out there. She said something about a pond.
Yeah.
And that they used to have trolleys of dead people, dead victims who were killed out there with the treatments, wrapped up in white cloth, linen, and they would roll them out on a trolley. And she said sometimes they would roll off the trolley into the pond. So I'm telling you, they're doing excavation out there.
Yeah, yeah.
You do an excavation in Graylands, you're going to find dead people. Yeah. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, this article is just totally not understanding the issues, real issues here. And, well, I'm going to go through the article another time, but they talked about this person that walked out was given clozapine.
Yeah, I was given clozapine.
That's a pretty dangerous drug.
It's a dangerous drug.
It's very dangerous. And there's also something about the funding. Somebody said something about this funding. This is Greens MP and spokeswoman for mental health, Alison Zanin, called Graylands hopelessly outdated. We are talking about a system that has been massively underfunded for decades, and that will have contributed to the problem quite significantly. Well, she's wrong about that. If you give them more money, they're just going to kill more people.
And the drug companies
and have
will
more
benefit.
Drug companies will benefit. They'll have more power, more money. More people will die. They'll control all their money and their assets. And it's not about money. It's not about there's not enough money in this system, and it's not about a system either. There's no excuse system. It's about people. People say, oh, that's the system, and that sort of thing, and I reject that. Every human being is accountable for what they do and say in life, for what they do in life and what they say in life, and they're going to be accountable to God of the Bible and the God of heaven for what they do and say in life, especially people in a leadership role. So it's not a system problem, it is identifiable people working in their working life who are murdering people with their treatments and who are destroying human life, getting paid to destroy human life. One person is John Hodges, for the public advocate, who's destroying my family. He's getting paid by the government to destroy my family and destroy my brother's life and just trying to destroy my life. Paid by the taxpayer and using my brother's money as well to do it. But people working in the government getting paid to destroy people's lives. And the people responsible for this, politicians, judges, the police have got to stop helping them. The people working at the Mental Health Review Board, locking people up against their will and drugging people against their will, it's criminal. They are accountable. The people working in the SAT, especially the president of the SAT, he's a criminal, should be jailed for what he's done to my family.
And mine.
And And also, they're getting paid by the taxpayer to destroy. That's a human rights tribunal in the Human Rights Division of the State Administrative Tribunal. They're actually destroying the human rights of hundreds of people, thousands of people in that tribunal over the years. So that's what they're doing. The public advocate is people working the public advocate getting paid by the government to help destroy these people's lives. Public trust is controlling millions of dollars of other people's money, and they're dying. You know, and they're investing that money in the corporate sector. Then you've got private organisations getting paid by the government to help, like St Bartholomew's. They provide accommodation services. That's where they're housing my brother in a community setting.
What?
And they're getting paid by the government to help kill people as well. Because you're providing accommodation service, but you're getting paid by the government, and it's on the condition that they get treated by psychiatrists.
That's the same as where I'm staying. I'm on a court order to stay in a hostel. Now, I've never lived in a hostel in my entire life. The men there are filthy, they're disgusting, their habits are disgusting, they've got no decorum, they've got no...
So do you feel safe there?
I don't feel safe, no. And all the locals just treat it as a joke, and the women just entertain the men. And it's like, excuse me, but I'm not like that.
So what's the hostel called?
St Jude's.
In whereabouts?
Guildford.
You used to live in this area, didn't you?
I used to live at Beaconsfield.
Beaconsfield, yeah. So you were living in Beaconsfield, and then how did that, what happened there?
They picked me up from from...
You were at the TAFE, weren't you?
TAFE, Beaconsfield TAFE, doing electrical engineering. I was getting high distinctions. And they picked me up from the student office. They said, someone wants to see you. And then they took me into custody and took me into Fremantle Hospital, where I stayed for 2.5 years. And then
you were locked up at the hospital?
I was in ward 4.1, I think it was, and then 5.1 for 2.5 years. And they were worried that I was there too long. So, and there'd be an inquiry because of all the suicides.
Yeah.
So then they palmed me off on a community treatment order to a hostel, and I had no choice. It was the hostel or Graylands.
Jesus Christ. And would you consider that you've been tortured?
I have been mentally tortured. And the scars. I still have scars on my skull from where they put the electrodes.
But even locking you up like that, do you consider that to be torture?
Yes, yes.
So physical torture, depriving of you of your liberty.
Of your liberty, your freedom, your human rights, your right to appeal. I'm appealing in the Supreme Court now. It's taken 2 years and I still haven't got a court date. I've got very good lawyers and solicitors. But
who are they?
Mental Health Law Centre. But I went to Gary Massey and he wouldn't even take my case.
Sandra Bolter is not... you know, she kicked me out of her office because I said they're murdering people with those drug treatments. And you know it's true. There has to be a Royal Commission. And you can't kick me out of your office because I'm fighting for the rights of people who are being murdered.
It might have been the
deprived of their liberty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to help people and you kick me out of your office. Well, it's not professional, is it? It's totally unprofessional.
She might have been angry at something or the way you said it or something like that.
I sat there like this with my suit on and said, I want you to help me, I'm asking you to help me fight for a Royal Commission to stop this happening, to stop this practice, because they're murdering people with their treatments. Yeah. And she kicked me out of her office. So, you know what, it's pretty unprofessional. I said, look, let's just have a conversation about it, okay?
Yeah.
Look at the research evidence, look at the testimonies people are giving, look at the... You know, the legislation is pretty obvious. How obvious is it? It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But they can lock you up for over 2 years.
Yeah, literally.
It's amazing that you're alive.
Alive, yeah.
It is. It's a miracle that you're alive, I reckon.
And I've escaped so many times, and they haven't been able to trace me.
Yeah, good.
And it's like, well, excuse me, but I'm an important member of society. If I can get teachers and scholarships for Beaconsfield TAFE, I can do something in law to stop this.
Good. Because if we get a Royal Commission, I'll put you in charge of it. How about that?
I don't know about that.
I want a whole team of people.
Yeah,
in a royal commission.
I want to get to know some people.
I want a whole team of people working on a royal commission on this. Investigators, lawyers, victims.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Not doctors and psychiatrists. They're not allowed to be. You know, they had an investigation into Fremantle, and they got Rowan Davidson to run it.
What?
The chief psychiatrist.
Oh.
The person that is overseeing all this horrific death. The politicians got the same person.
Yeah.
To do the investigation. Now that's obviously a conflict of interest. And to have people, they've got a music teacher locked up.
They've had teachers
locked up.
Yeah. They've had professionals, they've had overseas doctors, they've had migrants, single women, single men.
They got a teacher, a music teacher, female music teacher locked up. Her husband's got a lawyer now. 18 months she's been locked up in Fremantle, I found out.
Yeah.
Now find out you've been there
2 years.
2 years
Not
locked up.
3.
How did you survive that? You know, like it's just.
I just.
What did they do to you while you were there in Fremantle?
The men raped me. Not the nurses. Not some of the male nurses were alright, but the male patients raped the women. The food was disgusting at times. It depends. They changed the food in the end. They had barbecues on a Saturday, and it was compulsory virtually for you to go to a barbecue unless you had weekend leave. And in the end, I was cooking the barbecues.
But what period were you locked up from? What day?
I can't remember.
Or just approximately, like.
It was. I can't remember if it was 2000 or 2011. I'm vague because of the shock treatment, and I have temporary memory loss, so I can't be sure of the time period.
So maybe from about 2010 to 2012.
Till November, December 2012.
So you just got released recently.
Yeah.
Or you're not released; they transferred
me out of the area because they didn't want to have me under their umbrella anymore. And I have an aunt who's a psychiatrist, and I have been trying to contact her, and she's up in the Pilbara, and she won't have anything to do with me for professional reasons.
Well, you know, there's nothing professional that they do. It's really criminal.
My uncle is on the
criminal
board
action against a civilised population, a civilian population.
My uncle is on the board of surgeons at Royal Perth Hospital, Valerie Turner, and I tried to contact him, and I still haven't heard from him.
Well, you know what? It's just there's no right for them to lock anybody up.
No.
And I believe these people are really going to be condemned if they don't stop it.
Yeah.
You know? Every human has a right to freedom.
Yeah.
And it's political what they're doing. Sociological, political.
It is, yeah.
It's not medical. It's definitely not medical.
No.
It's really horrific, actually. You know, like they're conditioned killers because they have been doing it for so long, all over the world, that
they're used to
it's pathological or something.
They get
really
students
really
and they brainwash students, and it's not till students reach the age of 30 or 40 that they realise what they're doing is wrong, but they won't do anything about it because they're too scared and they don't want to be murdered.
So they want to be
They stay in the system. They won't stop because they're scared that if they do stop, they're going to be killed.
Yeah. Well, why are they scared they're going to be killed?
Because of the pharmaceutical companies and the other medical professionals.
Okay.
Because they're perpetuating this condition.
Because they could
and
be
the
jailed.
drug companies, yeah.
Well, I think they should be jailed.
There's doctors being persecuted overseas for human rights reasons.
Well, if you lock people up against their will, it's political, isn't it?
Yeah.
And politicians all over the world use psychiatry to persecute people for political reasons and sociological reasons.
Yeah.
And for economic gain.
Yeah.
For economic gain.
Yeah.
They get paid by the government. They get paid by the pharmaceutical industry. If they force the patient to pay for the drugs, then that's economic gain as well. It's enormous
Yeah.
economic industry. But
Yeah.
it's all murder, torture, slavery, violence against people, human rights abuses. It just goes on and on and on. It's just got to stop. It's just got to stop. The fact that they use the police so horrifically,
Yeah.
brutally as
But
well.
I have never been charged in a criminal extent in my entire life, and yet the police over in Western Australia have been targeting me. And I think they're doing an inquiry into me at the moment, and I don't know what I've done.
Well, because you're being hunted. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like Nazism.
Yeah.
You came here to get away from what they were doing
Yeah,
in
basically.
New South
To
Wales.
escape and get freedom, and now I'm stuck here.
Yeah. But it is, if you analyse this practice objectively and all the people supporting it, if you research it objectively, all the research, you can see obviously that it's criminal behaviour, that it's really abusive, and it's persecution of people.
Yeah.
And it's a political persecution or a sociological persecution that, if you look at this objectively, that, well, the sorts of things the Nazis did during the Second World War, they hunted people down.
Yeah.
They got the government got the police to do it. Government workers, so in this case psychiatry, in the case of the Nazis, it was the politicians.
Yeah.
But they, the psychiatrists carried out the genocidal policies of the Nazis in those camps, so they're all working on it, working together.
Yeah.
So the government hunted people down, forcibly locked them up.
Yes. Took them to gas chambers.
Yeah, forcibly deprived them of their liberty.
Yes.
They forced treatments on them.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yes.
They forced treatments on them. They tortured them.
Yes.
They controlled their lives.
You should see what
They
happens
control
to
their
the
lives.
Aboriginals now.
Yeah.
Some of them in the bush are branded. I saw one instance of one Aboriginal that I liked from up at Taree, and his family practically owned the property, and they got a horseshoe and branded him with it.
Who did it?
One of the people, white person in society, did that to him.
So a white person did it.
Yeah.
Do you know what his position was?
I have no idea. It happened on a property.
And you saw that happening.
I saw the branding on him.
You saw the branding. He was
Yeah.
branded like a slave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it is. It's kind of like a, if you read the Bible, what the Bible's saying at the end of time, there's going to be an antichrist, and he will force a mark on humans, slavery, 666 mark.
Yeah.
The mark of Satan. Well, that's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Branding.
Yeah.
Human slavery will increase at the end of time. That's what the Bible says.
Yeah.
But it's really persecutory. It's really evil. It's the work of Satan. And for economic gain, the Bible says the love of money is the source of all kinds of evil.
Mm.
So you're making economic profit off torturing people.
Absolutely.
I think that's what it comes down to. If you objectively analyse this, all the evidence, all the research evidence, the testimonies people give, it's the same experiences that they're reporting on.
Yeah.
Even you go on YouTube and you see testimonies given by people, other people around the world, it's the same type of abuse. And it's got to stop. It's just got to stop. Let's just stop it and have a big Royal Commission. And if you want to flee Australia, if you're a psychiatrist and you want to go leave Australia, that's okay. Just go, leave. I think you should be prosecuted and jailed for what you do.
Yeah.
And I think the politicians, if they don't stop it, they should be prosecuted as well, because it's been going on for so long.
Yeah.
They've got so much blood on their hands.
But they use psychology. They psychoanalyse people, and they use psychology constantly. And I've been attacked with knives, with scissors, with blunt instruments, with blades, all because...
In these places?
Yeah.
By the staff or by...
Well, by other patients.
Other patients.
I've made stress balls and paper dolls and paper boxes and paintings, and I've even got a multicultural photo thing.
So it's really not safe.
No, it's not safe.
So not only are you subjected to their treatments forcibly, the staff, but the other people there.
No. They're
Well,
scared. They're scared witless.
Yeah, but do they breach your rights too? Like you don't.
Yeah.
They're violent too.
Yeah.
It's just all violence perpetuated.
It perpetuates each other. So
Perpetuates the violence, and I think it's really violent what they do. They go to people's houses.
Yeah.
They're doing it to one of our members, Alex. It's so abusive. It's just they're going to kill him. He'll die prematurely as well. He'll be one of the 25%.
Yeah.
My brother will be one of the 25%. I'm scared for you because if they don't stop drugging you, it could be one of the 25%.
Yeah.
You know. But what are they drugging you with at the moment?
Clozapine and not clozapine, Respiridol, I think, and haloperidol. I think it is. I think I'm on 150 milligrams of haloperidol injections a month, and I'm on a tablet in the morning because I've got a stomach ulcer, and I think it's also got a sedative in it, and I'm also on olanzapine 15 milligrams at night, and that sedates me. And on the weekend I do nothing but sleep.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But is that by the Halodol? Is by injection, is it?
Yeah.
What is that called?
Haloperidol.
Haloperidol. So they inject you every month.
Yeah.
150 minutes.
Yeah.
And then is a daily tablet.
Daily 2 tablets.
So is olanzapine.
Olanzapine tablets, and I can't remember the name of the other one, but it's meant to be for. I was told, but I don't know because I can't remember the name of it, and I haven't seen a doctor in months. And I tried to get hold of Damien Turner at Fremantle Hospital, Dr. Damien Turner. Been trying to get hold of
Is he a
him.
real doctor?
He's a psychiatrist.
Well, that's not a doctor.
No, I've been trying
Would
to
you
get hold of
consider them they're doctors?
No, he's a hopeless doctor.
Yeah, but really, is it medicine what they're doing, or is it something else?
No, it's psychiatry. Psychiatry and medicine are 2 different things.
It's really scary.
Medicine
really scary.
is something like you're trying to treat a person and help a person and heal a person.
Yeah.
Or so the code of ethics in the medical field is. I took an oath when I did my grand prior to promote life, preserve recovery, to help the injury and the injured, and to protect all people.
Yeah.
And no.
Well, I'm an experienced phys ed health teacher.
Yeah.
And you promote health. Medicine is only promoting the health of humans, improving life, helping people get better, well.
Yeah.
And encouraging people, providing a service to help people live healthier, happier lives, more independent lives, more fulfilling lives. That's the purpose of health care, supposedly.
Yes.
But everything these psychiatrists do is destructive.
Yes.
The evidence now, the national report, 25 years younger, they're dying. That's the evidence.
Yes.
The evidence everywhere is damaging, destructive, destroying. It is not health practice.
No.
It is not health. No one is getting better.
No.
Nobody's health is improving.
Yeah.
They destroy people's health. They destroy people's mental health. Nobody's mental health is improving. You don't exercise and eat healthy.
You can't in these places. They put a gym into Fremantle.
It's criminal.
And the people are drugged, and then they're told to go to the gym, and they can't. The medication puts on all this weight.
Yeah. Well, it's not medication really.
And it makes it's full of fillers. It's full of additives.
Yeah.
It's full of rubbish.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the pygmies eat better than what some of the psych patients do.
Well, let's get one thing clear. You've got to stop calling it medication because it's not medication. They're made of chemical compounds. They slowly kill people, like lethal injections, but they're slowly doing it with small doses, The Nazis gave big doses, or the psychiatrists under the Nazis. Big doses.
Yeah.
And in fact, they do that too. They give sometimes big doses and they die suddenly.
Yeah.
And but they're slowly killing people because they're made of chemical compounds. They cause enormous health problems for people. They destroy people's health. They destroy their mental health. No therapeutic properties in these drugs. No medicinal properties. No nutritional properties. it's just all bad news all round, you know. It's really bad news all round, and I can't stress it enough that we have to stop it. I've told people, I believe Australia should stop paying taxation. We should stop paying taxation until it stops.
Well, I think there needs to be a referendum.
What, about stop paying taxation?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a choice, isn't it? I don't want to pay taxation anymore. All I'm saying is for myself, okay? I feel so strongly about it that I won't pay taxation till it stops.
Yeah.
And I won't pay parking fees and fines and things like that because I believe they are just, you know, destroying people. Economic corruption there.
Yeah.
That I don't want to, you know, councils try to destroy my life, try to destroy my civil and political rights. Why should I pay money to them?
Yeah.
But I'm not paying taxation until this stops because I'm not going to pay my money for people to be murdered by the government. Your tax money is being used to pay people working in the government, psychiatrists and other people that are supporting it, and it's killing people. Your family members, people know it's going on because it's their family members, it's their friends. You know, I had a teacher friend tell me her sister was killed in a psychiatric facility, 23, and she says, talked about another time, a friend of mine told me that her sister died in a psychiatric facility 6 months ago, and you know, and then I get young people coming to me, they're getting drugged by psychiatry, they can't get away from it.
No.
And they're young people. One young man, he was in his early 20s. He was an engineer.
Yeah.
And he, you know, educated, and he was, you know, he was just studying. He was just finishing his studies, and he's being drugged by psychiatrists forcibly. You know, you have a conversation with him, and he goes, "Well, there's nothing wrong with me. You know, I had a few problems, and the GPs refer to this." Don't go to them. Don't go. If your GP, I don't even go to the doctor anymore. I don't trust them.
Yeah.
I don't trust GPs either.
Yeah.
Because of the teaching in the universities. It's not biblical teaching.
No.
And so I don't trust them. But if your GP says go to a psychiatrist, don't do it. Just don't, and don't let your child anywhere near one because they'll end up dead.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've done that.
I'll just finish by asking you, Linda, what is it you need to let the public know how the public may be able to help you?
I need support through work. I've worked in the medical field, I've worked in the aircraft industry short periods of time. I've done veterinary work. I'm not qualified as a vet, I'm qualified in pathology as a technician, and I've also got other qualifications in medical, but I don't want to stay in medical anymore. I'd rather get back into the business world, maybe, and look for accommodation that's affordable till I get off the pension, because I've been on the pension for 28 years now and I can't survive.
So you need a job,
Yes.
and you need somewhere to live.
Yes.
And you need the government to stop controlling your life,
Yes.
which is really abusive. A CTO,
Yes.
you know, it's criminal.
Yes.
You'd be jailed for it,
Yeah.
you know, destroying people's lives like that, controlling people's lives, like control freaks.
Yeah.
So you need a job, and you need somewhere safe to live,
Yes.
because where you're living at the moment is not safe,
No, it's not.
is it?
No.
And you were living in Beaconsfield.
Yes.
So, you know, they come and grabbed you while you were studying. You were studying a course.
I was studying electrical engineering at Beaconsfield TAFE.
Yeah. And you made a complaint or something about...
To the student officer about something in the classroom. It was about students, and I wanted more teachers and more student allocation and more funding for the TAFE.
Yeah. And then they get the psychs to come drag you away by having an opinion about education.
Yeah.
You know. I think they should be all put in a room and locked up. They should.
They should see how it feels.
Yeah, do exactly to them what they are doing to society.
Yeah.
Put them in a big room and drug them to death you know, tie them up, forcibly lock them up. You know, got a music teacher who's locked up for 18 months. She's locked up for over 2 years in a psych ward. How sick is that? Yeah. And lock you up for 2 years, drug you for 2 years, take control of your assets and money, and destroy all your human rights, destroy your family's human rights, harass you with the police, you know, destroy your health, destroy your mental health, torture you, label you subjectively with all kinds of crap, and do it to you for 2 years, and the politicians, and you as well, for doing it.
Yes.
And see if you're going to continue the practice. See if you want to continue it. Because that's exactly what you're doing to society, a civilian population.
Yeah, yeah.
And
you wouldn't see this happen to anyone like Hillary Clinton or Michelle Obama.
No, it doesn't happen to the politicians' families and the judges' families and the people, you know, lording the power and control over society, supposedly. Because they do it to everybody else's family. That's what they do.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why it's power and control.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And what Linda needs, if our society can help her, is you need a job and you need a safe place to live. In this area?
Preferably in Fremantle.
Yeah.
That's affordable. Something that I can rent for a short time before I can get on my feet and buy something. But I have to gradually work into that. So I don't know where I can go from here. I would like to gradually get into the workforce. So something maybe 15, 20 hours a week part-time, and then work in an office or something like that.
And if she's studying in a TAFE or university and makes a complaint, well, what right does anybody have to, you know, have her dragged away and locked up for, you know, what was it, two and a bit years?
2.5
That's just
years.
so disgusting.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you want to stop paying taxation, well, join me. Stop paying taxation till they stop it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, why should we pay taxes for murder? Government-funded, taxpayer-funded cruelty and corruption and murder and destroying people's lives.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that the sort of society we want?
No.
Do we want Australia to continue like this? Or is Australia going to show real leadership on this issue? To show proper leadership and say enough is enough, to stop it. Yeah. Because I can tell you what, the God of the Bible, you know, the God that I serve, Jesus Christ, the God of heaven, are all condemned. You will all be condemned for this. They will not get away with it. This is so criminal and corrupt and cruel, and it's just, it's a question of morality. It's that question we talked about before, about morality and the law, you know. Yeah. There's a moral line in life, and if you cross that moral line, what happens is your conscience becomes seared. The Bible says that your conscience becomes seared, which means you lose your conscience. You're conscious. You lose your conscience as a human being. If you cross that moral line, you lose your conscience as a human being.
I've got people taking pornography of me at the moment. People breaking into my room. I'm too scared to sleep till 3 and 4 in the morning.
What are they doing, filming or something?
Yeah, they've got a camera in my room and they're taking film of me while I sleep, and they're trying to take pornography of me.
So they're creating something out of it?
Yeah. They're making a profit out of it. And I'm on a government pension and I don't want any part of it. Well, I come from a distinguished family. Yeah. I've never done pornography in my life. Yeah,
it was defamation, isn't it?
It is defamation.
What they do to people, the government does to people, is defamation, destroying their lives and locking people up, and just abusive, you know.
Yeah.
It's just sick.
Yeah, very sick.
You know.
I never put up with pornography in my entire life. You can in fact ask them at the airports where I used to work. I used to rip down their posters, and they had me doing photocopying the ATA 100, which is a flight journal, like a big Bible for the flight industry, and I was photocopying that, and in the end I was doing flight plans and flight burns and oil runs and working in the sheds, and I was the first woman since the Second World War in the avionics industry. not in the avionics industry, but studying avionics.
That's a great
Had
achievement.
so TAFE in Sydney.
Yeah, but you don't deserve to be persecuted and
No.
by government
No.
persecution. Victims of government crime.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And this person here, locked up. It's the wrong person. It doesn't matter. The fact the person escaped, and then they try and lock him up. That's a crime as well.
Yeah.
There's two crimes there.
Yeah.
You know, hunting down the person who's walked out of a place because he wants freedom.
Yeah.
He wants his life back.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be killed.
Yeah.
And he gets hunted down.
Yeah.
It is like Nazism. And then they get the wrong person. They hunt down someone, they get the wrong person, lock them up. But they're totally at fault.
I escaped for 10
Terrific.
days. I stayed at the Esplanade Hotel, which is what I was used to. The comfort, the luxury, a mini fridge, TV, clock radio, and towels, and spa bath, and swimming pool. I was there for 10 days. I needed a holiday.
So you walked out of
So I walked out, and I
Fremantle.
of Fremantle Hospital and stayed in the Esplanade Hotel for 10 days.
And you were in the psych ward.
And I was in a psych ward.
And you walked out of there.
Yes. And I was free, you know, and that freedom, I was free to go of my own capacity. I was free to have morning breakfast there, to go out in the street, to go to South Beach, to buy a coffee or tea, to have lunch out at McDonald's, things that I hadn't done in a long time.
Yeah. And the government tried to control your money too at one point, didn't they?
Yeah, they had me at the SAT Commission as
Yeah,
at the Guardianship Tribunal, and I won that because I could prove that I was paying my rent and I was saving money. And then I had an amount of $4,000 stolen from my account through one bank because of phone banking, and I don't use phone banking.
Yeah. What the psychs do, they've got it all worked out, you see, but I've worked out what they do. Criminal behaviour. They go to the SAT, they get orders from the SAT, the government control them, which is what they're doing to my brother.
Yeah.
The government, public trust, control their money,
Yeah.
and the government, public advocate, control their lives, decide where they live, who they associate with. How criminal is that?
Yeah.
You know, control their lives basically, which is a form of slavery,
Yeah.
especially when the government's doing it.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, the psychs do that, and they get the pensions from the Commonwealth. They go to the public trust. They give them a little bit of money to live on, a couple of dollars a week, and then they invest that money, all the money, the assets and money that they've stolen. They're controlling their bank accounts, the people's bank accounts, and they invest that money in the corporate sector.
Yeah.
Whew, they should be jailed for it, you know.
Yeah.
The politicians letting him do it, the judges letting him do it, and
It's
criminal.
It's in what's the word? It's like a disease that's crept into society, and you even see it on shows on television now, like CSI and things like that. People call each other skits and that. What sort of world is that?
That's
you know?
right, yeah.
No one's skits. That's criminal. And I've been told all my life that I'm dumb, that I'm stupid, that I'm ugly, that I've got no talent, that I can't do anything.
It's cruelty. It's fraud against a human population, and it's cruelty, and it's defamation of the human character.
Yeah.
I believe it's
Defamation,
defamatory
fraud, character assassination,
yeah.
and there was something else. I can't think. Slander.
Yeah, defamation is slander. It's the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But they've worked it out. They've got it down pat, really,
Yeah.
and they it's feeding off human misery, really. You know.
Yeah.
Imagine getting paid as a job to destroy people's lives. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freedom is important. Human respect and human dignity is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Freedom for people to live where they want,
Yeah.
and freedom to work,
Yeah.
the freedom to have a political voice and a view about society without being ridiculed and oppressed, and the freedom to be left alone. You know, why doesn't the government just get lost and leave them alone? You know, actually using your tax money to do it. People Australians working really hard in our society, and their tax money's being used for criminal purposes.
Yeah. I think
when you were at Fremantle, locked up in a psychiatric facility, it was between 2010, you were let out 2012, about November,
December,
of 2012, and you were there for 2 years and
a few months.
So it was about the middle of 2010. You must have been...
I think it was 2011. April 2011, I was given shock treatment 3 times a week until April 2012.
Okay, so you were given, at Fremantle Hospital, Fremantle Psychiatric Facility, you were given shock treatment.
Yes.
How many times a week?
3 times a week.
For how long?
12 months.
Okay, and that's from April
2011 till April 2012.
But you, in a total time that you were there,
I can't remember if it was over 2 years.
So it must have been about the middle of 2010 to the end of 2012, because you've just recently been
discharged.
Well, you've been shifted to a different facility in Guildford.
Yeah.
And how did that shock treatment stop?
I think they took a court order, and in the end they stopped it by a court order.
Who did?
Mental health, law.
The law centre?
The law centre,
So the lawyers got them to stop it.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, the lawyers have to fight for the rights of people. There's a lot more lawyers in the United States fighting for the rights of people who've been tortured by psychiatry.
We're over 20 years behind the United States and 50 years behind Europe in mental health.
Yeah, well, it's just torture all over the world, really.
Okay.
That's what it is. And what about, you were telling me about the sport thing that you did?
I did netball, athletics. I had trophies in netball, best and fairest trophies. I played goal attack. Yeah, sporting achievements. Yeah. I did netball when I was at school. I did wing attack, goal attack, centre, goal shooter. I did umpiring. We used to go every Saturday to the ovals. I did athletics at school for a short period of time, won a trophy for athletics. I did 10-pin bowling. I represented Australia in the Coca-Cola International Classic when I was in the 1980s.
For 10-pin bowling?
10-pin bowling. I won a gold medal.
Wow.
My team, I was reserve on the team that won gold medals, and we came back from Singapore with 8 gold medals.
I won a Mars bar once. A 10-pin bowling competition, but not a gold medal. That's impressive. I'm impressed with that.
And I left my gold medal over in Singapore on human rights protest.
And now you're fighting for your own human rights, aren't you? Yeah.
It's ironic. Yeah.
So the good people of the world have to fight for human rights for people.
I also won a national...
The free people of the world, the free people.
Also won a National Land Care Award with my husband and his family.
And how long were you married for? You were
16 years.
Yeah. And he's still alive?
Yeah.
And he lives in
Goulburn.
Where is that?
Over in New South Wales, not far from Canberra.
Did you want to say something to him?
Paul, I care about you, and if you're watching, I hope you're enjoying yourself, and don't take things to heart. There's more to life.